Hello, Cactus crew. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. And if this is your first time, I hope you stick around, become one of us. Cacti never runs smoothly. I'm Bill. As yes, you would know, I'm also a cactus. So that makes, oh no, look, I've got something that's making noise. In this stream, guys, we are going to, well, this is the follow-up live. So I released a video last night. I'll link it below, but it's also on my channel, like the first one that you see, or the latest one. There's a lot more to Kathy. There's a lot more to Kathy and her Catholic upbringing and choices that she's made, and her husband. We're going to start with her husband, but yeah, carrying on from what he said in what we learned from the video that I released. I'm not making sense. You know what makes more sense? The description box. That makes more sense than anything that comes out of my mouth. So head down there. That's where the timestamps are, extra info, all the links. And yes, I'll see you on the other side of it.
I can't think.
Hey guys, how you going? I hope everyone's going well, better than me. A little tongue-tied there. 6 out of 10, I reckon that intro. Still not perfect, but I continue. Yeah, so like I said, also let me know if my audio is too high or too low. Yeah, because I've moved everything around. I'm renovating my house. Like I've started renovating, and so had to move my desk. And I'm right in the middle of my lounge room now. Like there's no sitting on my couch anymore. It's work time. So yes, it might sound a bit weird, but let me know and then I can, make it so it's better next time. But yes, I've always had an issue with how Katie speaks about Catholics. I should say this is probably the first time that I'm going to boast that I'm Catholic. Well, I was raised Catholic. Like most people in Western society were raised on Catholic beliefs. Like, when you think about it, even like the court, the law system relies on you swearing on the Bible. So like it's so ingrained in society. My issue is that KJ doesn't know who she is, what she believes in, has no self-awareness, like we've said, but she loves to single out Catholics. And we're not going to talk about the priest side, the bad side. I want to focus on how Katie is so focused on Catholics and how it's really dangerous to group extremists of the religion in with everyone. There is some good values that come out of religion, and it comes down to respecting people and tradition. And I would never, like my grandparents were devout Christians, Catholics. I could never hurt them the way that Katie seems to have gone about stuff. And also, like, I read the Bible and I've read all, like, she doesn't understand it properly. She goes into it with all this fucking preconceived hate. She's just drowning in it. It's disgusting to see. Like, there's even a video, like I've linked below, like I've got a playlist of all the religious videos that I've covered of Katie, and where she misinterpreted what Jeremy Vowolo, his sermon, totally misunderstood what forgiveness, sin, and everything. She's just so But yeah, what we're going to do first off is we're going to watch a little video about Katie. I think it was Katie Joy Live. It's an old Instagram video. Clearing up that rumor about my husband, you know, because everyone thought he was a white supremacist. And why would people think that? Is it because he hasn't properly explained or doesn't understand himself that what his beliefs are, like Heathen, sorry if I don't know how to pronounce it, Heathen, pagan, Norseman. He likes to group it all together, but labeling, like putting that out there, some people that follow that religious belief, it is a religious belief. Because the difference between heathen and atheist, which is what Katie is atheists, they don't believe in God, but heathens, they don't believe in anything. But they do believe that there's a like good and bad, nature versus nurture, all that, like that there are entities, but no specific God. I love how he's dictated what Katie can believe in. I'm not dating or marrying anyone that goes to church. And then they go to church together. Which just does my head in, like who came up with that idea? If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is in the video that I released yesterday. The link's below, but I just got to grab a drink. Oh, thank you so much to Alberta and Stella. Welcome back to the contributors. I appreciate that. I know I owe the contributors. I'm coming back with stuff for you guys. I just wanted to get the main train on the train tracks. Okay, so let's just go to this video. And the reason people are wondering about the white supremacy when it comes to TODD is that one of the aspects of Heathism, I am just destroying that word. One of the aspects of being a heathen is like, and that's why I mean, like he throws around words like Norseman, Norse gods, paganism. They're all separate. They have basic belief systems that are similar, but they are all different in what extremes they take it to. So like some of the paganism stuff relates back to Odinism, and that's where the white supremacy comes from, because there's a huge sector of heathens that practice white supremacy, that believe that whites are the supreme race. And Katie doesn't understand Toad's beliefs, yet she is his spokesman for every issue that we've ever come across linking back to Toad. She gets up and talks for him. Let the fucking wimp talk for himself, you know? And he is a public figure as much as she says he isn't. But okay, well, I'll shut up and we'll let her, who's her? Well, she's depending on the day, because she once was a Jesus lover. Okay. I'm sure we all remember this. Also, this is my copy, like I downloaded it and then uploaded it onto, this is like from ages ago when I didn't know what I was doing. So the video is a bit blurry, but like I said, it's kind of good survival mode on our side, because who wants a crisp, clean vision of it anyway? It's the words that are important.
My husband is not believe the the lies, they are accusing him of really despicable things. And they are coming onto my Twitter and they're demanding that he answer to them, which first of all, I just want to set like a hard boundary here. Like, you guys can do whatever you want. You can lob anything at me, but like, my husband is not a public figure. My husband is not a YouTuber. My husband is not on YouTube. He is not a part of this. He is not your property, or you're not entitled to know anything about him. We don't really share a lot about our lives. We're not like super open about everything. But people are now accusing him of being a white supremacist, which is flat out a lie. It's not true. It's never been true. And the fact that every few months people decide that they are going to reinvent this wheel, or a new creator decides that they're not going to do their homework, or they are going to just make a salacious headline. Today and yesterday, we have been bombarded by people accusing us of horrific things. And in today's climate, this is probably one of the worst things you want to be accused of, because this last summer was so terrible for the entire United States. We had so much injustice that happened. We live in Minneapolis. We grew up in Minneapolis. What happened to George Floyd was not far away from where we grew up. We saw businesses burned to the ground. We saw people lose their livelihoods. We saw a man literally just going to the store end up not going home to his family.
And I think she totally forgets that she's a white woman with privilege. You know, what has she grown up with? Been fed into her mind. Because it's the people that are her age group, that are the police, that are in the police force, that are like causing this shit. Her age. So they have the same like built in like morals and belief systems. A lot of people were pointing out that like Minneapolis has a problem with like racism. She's talking as if like she's a person of color. The struggle is real. I witness it every single day. You witness it from the wrong side of the fence. And the reason that people continually bring this up is because you don't give us a fucking definite answer ever, Katie, ever. You, like the whole fucking Goodreads situation, only an idiot or some try-hard. And that's always been my thing with Todd. I think he is a try-hard because he seeks out things with this kind of like connotations behind it. He seeks this shit out. He sought out Moribund Records. Also, I have never released my video on Moribund Records because when I started this channel, like I had no confidence and I didn't want to like, you know, like an opposing view, like I couldn't handle that. But I'm thinking I might redo it and put it out. So if you want to see that, like just let me know in the comments, or actually I'll just put it out. I think it's due. But I discuss a lot of this. Like he does seek out certain stuff. So in a way, I believe he sought out Heathenism. Like he chose that because it does have underlying these issues. These people seek it out. But also, this is what I'm saying, the dangers of Katie focusing every single bad thing that has happened with Catholics, with Christianity, and putting it all on the church and saying it's the religion. Well, that is the exact same thing that's happening here. She's not giving the definite answer that we need. And so we are grouping everyone in with the heathen religion. I don't know if it's a religion, because I can't say the word properly. I'm trying to like, would it be group? Well, they share the beliefs and values and all that. But then there's that extreme branch of people that take it too far. And after this, well, should I press play and should we listen for a bit more? After this, we will go and look at the TROTH, which No, that's not water. Although, is that the same thing that, you know, bring the horse to the trough, but sometimes it doesn't drink? Like, where is Katie when we need that cliche? You can bring the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Yeah, it doesn't say trough. But yeah, so I head to the trough, and that's like the Heathen like rules and what they believe in and stuff. And they go through it. How, you know, specific hatred and that side is not connected to them. They're trying to like distance themselves. But yeah, I just want to see her try and explain it a bit more. It's interesting, you know, when Katie puts the teacher hat on.
I've spoken out repeatedly about the injustices that so many people and people of color face. I have spoken out against all of this like police brutality. I have stood up and supported Black Lives Matter. I am against any form of racism, and so is my husband. We are so against any form of hate. And because he made a video where he was using runes, Nordic runes from the Vikings era, you know, it's an alphabet. This is not just because, anyways, here's my husband's statement, because now people want to say that he is basically the worst, slimiest form of anything. And my husband,
well, he's definitely not top shelf material, you know. He's like rubbish bin material, in my opinion. Both of you were so desperate to get married, no one wanted you, and boom, automatically you're an atheist, giving up your Catholic right, even though you've never got it anyway. Took all the bad shit from it. But yeah, let's see what Todd Martin Paulson has to say. And I'm not the one with my full name as my Instagram handle.
husband will stick up for me and I will stick up for him. And this is what he said. And this is a comment he made. I am a Norse heathen spiritual path, and I'm also a musician in black metal band, that they are using those things to come up with this narrative. Unfortunately, in those two worlds I just spoke of, there is a loud minority of people who actually are white supremacists. So they try to connect dots, but there is no connection. I am a dues-paying members of the TROTH, which is an inclusive heathen community. I've also signed Proclamation 127, which is taking a direct stance against bigotry in any form. But because these people only know a tiny fraction about me and my life, they think they have all the info. And lastly, I'd like to say I respectfully, he's talking about wolves. So here's the thing. There's a heathen community that has taken over. There is people, bad people, a tiny fraction of people that have taken runes that are a language, right? They're the alphabet, part of the Vikings culture. My husband is Norwegian. My husband is also Swedish. And he's also a heathen. And he's North.
And this is what I mean. She has no idea. The Norse part of it is the Swedish Europeans, the Vikings. Which, Katie, by the way, do you know that Vikings were involved in polygamy? Probably not, because you don't care what your husband's beliefs are. Also, didn't you do your ancestry thing, you know, like a dumb wit, and you figured out that he's not Norwegian, even though he really wants to be, because that's what you guys do. You make it fit. Like, you become who that, like, if he wants to be Norse, he will become Swedish. All of a sudden, he's Swedish the next day. Look, these are my drums. It's in my family, my Viking blood. I've got my tattoo. I've got my TROTH signed thing that's framed, and, you know, fuck. Oh, God, you guys are just twits.
Norse, heathen, pagan. And that alphabet has been, some of it, been appropriated by really bad people and taken over. And So people assume that because he is a heathen, he somehow is this bad person. And then there's this accusation about his record label and how they have ties to people that are bad, that are in this white nationalist movement. First of all, when my husband was signed to that label, it was like 2009. He put out 2 albums, and then he didn't put anything else out for years. And when they had to make a decision about what they were going to do in that time,
this is something that I go over in my Moribund video, as everyone that has made a video on this goes through it. But yeah, Katie just basically gets all her dates wrong, can't remember, blah, blah, all that crap. Just quickly before we go have a look at the TROTH, because we are done with you, Katie, for now. But thank you for showing us how you shouldn't have tunnel vision on one religious group and say that anything bad that happens, it's all because of Catholics. When the exact same thing is happening here. Use your fucking brain, Paulson. Oh, okay, I've got to use my brain because I can't still drive and talk at the same time. Okay, it's not in my ability, for safety reasons, of course. But let's just have a look at this, Mr. Lord of Storms, because that's part of the Norse paganism side, which is a bit more, the Norse paganism is a branch that leads off from, the traditional heathen values. And we'll go through what the TROTH says about that in a minute. But here we are, Lord of Storms, Todd Paulson. He is a public figure, he's a musician. These are all his albums that he released. 2009, that Moribund album. 2012, Moribund album. And then that was their last one. And then the 2020 album, because they had a 3-album contract with Moribund. Katie was like, they did 2 albums, never again. No, they released one in 2019. And then 2020 was Independence to the Beast. Yeah, you can see how he's playing into that whole Marilyn Manson kind of ideology, metal band, satanic kind of stuff. And that is the kind of, I don't like stereotypes because, I grew up a metalhead and my mum was Catholic. So her walking into my into my room and seeing posters of Ozzy Osbourne and stuff, Ozzy with a bat and preaching all those symbols. It's more of the culture of the bands, but then, for someone who doesn't put so much of himself out there, we talk very little about our private lives, like Katie says. I forgot what my train of thought was because I looked up and saw him in the grass, and that's just horror movie, isn't it? Hands on the hips. Okay, we're done. We're out of here. Oh, also, I just got to say, he's got, he used to have his own record label called God is Myth Records. And does that ring a bell to any, like I said, I was, Marilyn Manson fan until all the shit that came out. Manson has a song called God is Myth. So that's that. So that's that. Thanks, Todd. Also, if you guys want more on Todd, we should go down the Todd tunnel. I've started calling you Todd. Yeah, okay. Toad. I think it's the grass, the wind and the willows. I don't want to add to the horror story even more. Okay, now we are going to go to the TROTH, which, like I said, is the, that's what he signed, part of the Heathen community. I can't drive and talk at the same time. Oh, I just need to grab a drink before we dig into this. Do you know what? Like, I totally love drum circles. Uncle Sal, I saw that from side of my eye. I love a good drum circle. Do you know, just even drum circles for therapy, like, oh, that's me being unco, was so funny in my therapy group with my drumming, but we're not here. We weren't there for that. Okay, yeah, we're not here for that. Okay, so just go up a bit, because this whole part is about how are these different, Norse paganism versus ASATRU versus Heathenry, everything that I can't say. And yeah, so they're like the same basic set of religions, but different stems of being a heathen and which extreme you take it to. So what do you like? Where Norse paganism is where like TODD fits in mainly. They say, hang on, I wasn't gonna read this part. Yeah, they say that like most people that, from what I've read, and it's not here, the Norse is referring to the European side, and then the paganism side is actually more the Latin, whereas like this is the Germanic. Didn't he say he was German at one point too? So, you know, you can be so many things when you are searching for, well, you can be so many things when you're trying to search for who you are at an age where you should know who you are, but you don't know who you are because you've spent your whole life drinking. Sorry, I just went there. I mean, I had to just get to the point sometimes, you know. We ain't got all day to listen to Bill dribble on and try and get to the point. Those days are over. Okay, a note on the so-called folkish, heathenry, Odinism, and Wotanism. Wotanism? Oh. It says there is a decided lack of reference to the practice of so-called folkish, heathenry, ASATRU, or Norse paganism or Odinism, because we do not recognize the beliefs and values of these practices. We do not recognize the beliefs and practices of these groups to be a valid expression of our faith. Do you reckon TODD knows? He's just so confused. And then, you know, if you saw that people online were misconstruing who you were, wouldn't you get online and say it from your mouth rather than relying on your wife who has no fucking idea, can't even pronounce runes right? Like, what is she saying? Who knows? Oh, she thought that song was about being a father. Okay. There was a long period in our past where this is just awful writing. Katie, did you write this? Are you the TROTH? Oh, I'm so awful. I'm awful. I'm terrible, Muriel. There was a long period in our past where we and these white nationalists practiced side by side. We read the same basic texts. We participated and created the same rituals. This proved to be an untenable situation. People of colour and people who believe the existence of people of colour is an intrinsic threat to continued existence of the so-called white race cannot practice the same religion. No amount of tolerance will change this fact. We know, we've tried. White nationalist beliefs and practices are outside the realm of consideration. But then, you know, at least they did a proper fucking explanation. Meanwhile, Katie's halfway to China digging around, you know? Oh, and then she wonders why people, oh, you know, when the next time another creator doesn't do their research, well, God, maybe your husband should get Google or ask Jeeves, you know, whichever one. Okay, now what we are going to do now that we have just, you know, beat that into, I don't know. Let's head to Katie's Facebook post from January 20, because now she has, fully come out with, her Catholic trauma. She tries so hard to become the victim of whatever she is covering. And it's fucking disgusting. She's changing history, rewriting history. Remember my ancestry, the video that we did? We covered her ancestry post on Instagram. I'll find it and link it below. But she blamed her whole upbringing on her grandparents' German beliefs or something, or their religious beliefs. And everyone was like, at some time, you know, in your life, you've got to take accountability for your own ways of understanding the world. Katie has that mindset that it's everyone else's problem. I mean, they did it to me. I didn't do anything to make myself think this narrowly, this hated, like just absolute, not one bone of positivity in Paulson. Wow, I love how I worded that because it's not too straight to the point. Okay, where are we going now? I've got it here. I need another drink. I lost my voice on the weekend. So bad. Because we're in the middle of a heat wave. And then now Fringe has started, the comedy festival, and I've been talking too much. Okay. And then I put that there, and then I do that, but I can't do this while I'm talking any sense. But I press enter anyway and hope for the best. Oh, where is it? It's not there. Oh, why are you taking your time? You decided to just, a bit slow there. Okay, I got to grab a drink and then I'll come back and read this novel. Okay. Like I said, like my opinion is maybe a little bit stronger, more enforced by the fact that I was also raised Catholic. I just can't believe how, like, the way she interprets stuff. She takes it literally, like you'll see. I can't, she would never be able to listen to J. Cole's album, Born a Sinner, because she would take that literally. She'd be like, no, I wasn't born a sinner. I'm not buying that album. Aww. Okay. Fucking hell. Oh, okay, what have I got myself into? Every time. Win. Let's go. Have I muted myself? No, thank God. So this was January 20. Growing up in a legalistic religion built on rules, hierarchy, obedience, and Fear of disobedience often teaches people to ignore danger and ignore themselves. For me, growing up Catholic was very much a fear-based experience. Not all Catholics are the same, but my experience is also not uncommon with other ex-Catholics that left the church. Ooh, to be more specific, ooh, you're in line with who you're covering. God, Katie. You wouldn't even be able to function properly if you had the amount of trauma that like actual like FLDS and stuff, like people like escaping polygamy and all that. She doesn't understand that she's a white privileged woman. She wasn't raised, you know, everything's a story for her. Bunch of fucking lies. Like her preaching about people of color. See, like in that video, yeah, but you're not, okay? You're not. And you didn't grow up on that side of the struggle. She has no idea. She could only imagine. For me, growing up, have we read that? Let's not read what we don't need to. I remember being so scared to disobey God that I felt paralyzed and so much guilt when I made mistakes. A common story from my childhood memory was hearing my grandma say, God is punishing you, when anything unpleasant happened to me. Stub a toe, trip, fall, get a bad grade, get bullied or injured were all punishments from God for doing something to upset him. I truly felt like any misstep could cause me harm. I remember during my confirmation listening to the bishop admonish the youth for behaving badly. Disobedience of their parents, premarital sex, smoking, drinking, and hanging out with the wrong people were just a few of his gripes. I sat in the pew with tears streaming down my face because I already felt like a failure. Get a grip of yourself, Paulson. Shit. Like for every single mass, were you bawling? I really don't think religion is the problem. Your comprehension is the problem. It's always been the problem. You interpret things how you want to interpret it to make it fit. Oh God, story of your life. During confirmation classes, our church brought us to a retreat. Yes, I went to a retreat too for my confirmation. We were forced to watch a video of a woman discussing premarital sex. Matter of factly, the woman told us having premarital sex would give us herpes, HIV, and pregnancy. Well, Katie had no idea that you could get a UTI from having sex. That's what I mean. You only found that information out when you were 40 years old. And you were arguing with people. I'll link that video down below as well. It's when she went through the pamphlet of what the Duggars get on their marriage, you know, their wedding night. There was no mention that condoms and safe sex could prevent the spread of STIs. There was no discussion of birth control preventing pregnancy. The woman hammered home that sex outside of marriage led to horrific outcomes. Okay, like what about where was your mum? Didn't your mum give you a book at least, you know, the talk? You're putting a lot of responsibility on the church. Or like, you know, what they taught you. You know, take what they say and then go home and do a little bit of, you know, Katie research. See if it all makes sense. I spent years in fear of sexually fucking shit. No, you didn't. Oh my gosh, Katie, I've got another video of you saying, did I have a purity party or something? No, you were something very dirty. It was so disgusting. Like, thank God it's a short clip. But like, yeah, you were basically saying you hopped on carousel and I don't know where we're going with that. I spent years in fear of sexually transmitted diseases and unwanted pregnancies with little education on birth control protection. Holy fuck, what did your mum do? What did your mum teach you? Did your mum not even teach you about, like, you know, when you get your period and all that? Like, did you rely on what were you getting taught at school as well? Like, this is just the church, or was this through school? Well, it's during confirmation classes. So I did my confirmation in year 7. So I was like 12 at the time. I remember Katie saying that she did hers when she was 15. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Like, but then, yeah, then Americans schooling is different anyway. I think I think you guys graduate high school when you're 18, don't you? And we're out of there by the time we're like 17. I'm lost. I'm lost in your lives. In parts of my life, I was extremely rebellious, and others I became the people-pleasing perfectionist that was afraid to make mistakes. And which part of that is like, you're going to blame any of that on undiagnosed ADHD? I just need to grab a drink. It's just absolutely bullshit because, like, I spent years fearing. I was rebellious. So you were able to be rebellious, extremely rebellious. But then you are also the people, like, what are you, having a midlife crisis in your teenage years? You said your whole life you were a people pleaser. And I mean, your wedding photo, not to, like, you know, judge you or anything, but you look like you got married, you know, no sex before marriage. That's what it looks like. And it looks like the fear is all over Toad's face because he knows what that night is. Oh, it's awful of me to say that. Deconstructing was painful and hard. Oh, fuck off. You never deconstructed. If you were let me get my brain in order. Okay, every thought line up because we're not all coming through the door at once. And by the door, I mean my mouth. Silence. Deconstructing was painful and hard. Let me say, you never deconstructed because your first thought automatically, Katie, was to go back to the church for support when your child was going through the worst in those early years of his life. You went to a church group when you should have gone to family counseling, like therapy for parents with unwell children. Like, there's stuff that's offered in other parts. You went straight back to the church. Why? So you could fucking bag them out? That's like, how many videos have you made? The time we joined a cult. No, by your definition, it's a cult, but that's because you go into things with such a negative viewpoint. You can never see things. It's just like a group of people that fucking helped you through a hard time. And they did. And when you stopped getting freebies, that's when you and your husband were out of there. So there's more to the story. than just it being a cult. Fuck. And you were like, oh, I had so many friends and they were like, you know, really good friends too. And then my husband said that he wanted to leave that and all that. So you can't have different lives. You have to always align with your husband. How come you're not a heathen, Katie? Because you still don't know what atheist, like, and just to be an atheist, like, that's another label. It just shits me that she doesn't take, you know, the good from stuff. She can only see the bad, which that shits me because well, actually, with every relationship she's gone through, we've heard them made out as the bad person. She's probably never looked at it and seen, what good have I taken from this? That's how I live my life. I hate negativity. I hate fucking liars. Like this. Why should it annoy me so much? She's just changed. Deconstructing was painful and hard. Losing the faith, but you never had it. You said you faked it. Was heartbreaking. But I think what was heartbreaking was that you were such a rude fucking bitch to your family who still believed and found hope. And it was like more of a like family tradition. You can't even respect your family. You have to, you know, cut them out. By finding myself and trusting myself after leaving was the gift I'm grateful for every day. I don't fear making mistakes anymore. Oh no, you're hell way past that. I mean, God, you've got the ego. You don't need to fear anything. You hate everything. Which I think you've got fear and hate mixed up. I reckon you're so scared of the world, so scared about what people think about you, what they say about you, that you've got no idea who you are because you're always trying to please other people, always digging. I don't fear upsetting God. But you're like, this doesn't sound like an atheist wrote this. Because that's not written in like past tense. I don't fear and panic over my thoughts. Yes, you do. Your anxiety is allowed to run rampant in your nervous system, Katie, because you still drink. You still go to pills for that buzz. I trust my gut. And I don't ignore danger or red flags anymore. Because you are the red flag, you are the danger, you are the gut, and you are the shit and everything in it. You know, that's your belief system. The whole digestive system, really. Ignore the danger and red flags anymore. Believe yourself. I'm sure there's more to do with her posts. And if I go back, I'll have to link the rest of her stuff. But I think we might be done here. I just see these two as just complete twits. And I just hate them flinging the amount of accusations around and just linking everything bad. And yes, the Catholic Church deserves it now. I mean, if you take that other side of it, I didn't want to talk about that. That's the extreme part. That's the bad people that Katie talks about, the bad people of the bad side of Heathens. So this is the bad side of Catholics. Not everyone is like that, but Katie doesn't give a shit. Plus, if she doesn't, she's like, I don't hate Catholics, then fucking report on another religion. Show us how another religion is a cult. Even though, you know, she thinks she's an expert, she has personal experience being a Catholic, but no, she doesn't, because none of the stuff she talks about to do with the Bible or sinning and all that, I never had that. And I never had hate in the Catholic Church. Like, I went to primary school, like a Catholic primary school, Catholic high school, and then my uni was even like, there was a church based in my uni. And I was never, and then even my grandparents were like devout Christians. Like, my nana used to take me to like midnight mass, and she'd take us around to like, she used to give like the poor communities, she used to go around to them and give them communion because they couldn't come to church. She'd leave me in the car. That's when I realized I don't like summer. But yeah, like, there's so much good values that are instilled, but then there's the, you know, the abuse that happens with the institutions and the schools. And like, you know, I wish Katie would look into the UK, you know, boys' schools. That whole thing was awful. When did that break in the news? Even the whole Irish Catholic stuff. Like, I can't even, I like that. I just almost felt sick talking about it, because that's extreme religious abuse. But then I don't understand American churches either. But the general basics are the same. But I just feel like Katie took everything as an extreme hate rather than ever seeing any good. She just never sees anything in a positive light. So why is that? It's her own issue. She's projecting her whole, like, you know, did her mum not give her the talk on sex? I'm starting to think no. If you're 40 years old and you still don't know that you can get a UTI from sex, like, are you having sex and then not going to the toilet afterwards? I'm like trying to think when she was so rebellious and, you know, trying not to get pregnant or have an STI. But then that contradicts. And that's why everyone keeps asking questions over and over, because Katie, every day is a lie for you. And that's that's your sad reality. Oh, I just can't even imagine what your parents, like, that would be another thing. Like, why probably your brother doesn't want anything to do with you, or your family, you know, they come and see you and then they go and see your brother separately on Christmas, because together you're just a fucking disrespectful bitch. You know, it's all about you. Anyway, I might go down the Toad tunnel, because yes, well, I haven't even seen what Katie's been posting lately. What in the last, like, what? Oh, she is Alberta and Stella. They say, Bill, she's a walking, talking STD. Well, she is, but I don't know if it's sexually transmitted. We could really think about it and clarify that. Oh, yeah, her family, it's just, I wouldn't allow this negative energy into my house. I wouldn't allow this negative energy around my children. Also, she's, yeah, it's, oh, that's what I was going to do if there was like time left over, because I noticed that I never read that, because I've read a lot of articles, and I've linked the playlist below of Katie writing about the Catholic Church from way back when she wrote for Pathios, and then on her blog as well. But yeah, I never read the one about that I included in my video of how when they went back to atheism, and their son was still a Jesus lover, and every day he wanted to pray, and he was like, Jesus gives him strength when he's sick and all this. And they took that away from him, and how they did it was so fucked. I don't like the amount of things that Katie's like, today I'm this, and then they instill those values in their child, and then the next day she's like, nah, I'm not that now, so take that away from my son. That's so confusing. So confusing. I wonder if she will give her son the sex talk. Probably not, because she's already told him that he's, you know, abnormal. Oh, I'm sorry if you ever listen to this, but you're not. You will never, because you're smarter than your parents. Oh, gosh. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll bring it back to my face, but I hope what I said tonight makes sense. But, yeah, just the dangerous, just to be so narrow-minded when it comes to religion. I don't even like talking about religion, but I feel like everyone needs to respect every other person. Like, don't let what other people believe affect you. Why? Why would it affect you? Because you're so concerned with what other people are doing, you're not focusing on yourself. And also, Katie being so narrow-minded with her hate against Catholics. But she can't see, you know, it's the same thing. When your husband says that he's a Norse paganism, I mean, fucking get the terms right if you don't want to be accused of being a white supremacist. Okay? And no, Katie, I don't want to hear. Oh, but I grew up in Minneapolis. I'm a black woman. No, you're not. Oh, I'm just being stupid, but that's how we all end up at the end of these streams, with no fucking brains. Guys, if you guys enjoyed this, I mean, how could you not? Please give this video a like. It really helps me out, especially since, you know, I take time off for my mental health and then I resume. But we are on track. I did this live tonight because I'm not sure if I'll be around on Friday night, because Fringe Festival it started last week. It goes for a month, and it's performing arts. And I'm a comedian, and I'm doing a few shows this weekend. So if I don't have a voice, but I'm going to try and make it work anyway, because I am enjoying being on a rolling forward, no longer stationary. So yeah, hit subscribe, but also the main thing is hit that bell, because that will let you know when I upload stuff. But I'm trying to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's not any of those days today, but I think I explained that. Oh, Canada. I'm so jealous that you're in Canada. Before the whole pandemic went down, I was supposed to go to Bali, then Canada, and then Melbourne. Plans. Thanks so much to everyone that rocked up in chat. And yeah, if you do want to become a member of the channel, you can just, everything's in the description. Keep scrolling until you find a cactus. It's also pinned in the chat. But yeah, I forget to mention that. Cactus contributors, because they contribute to the channel, also so thankful. So yeah, that's what you can do if you want to support the channel further. But yeah, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. But yeah, thanks so much for rocking up, and yeah, take care, have a good day, don't let this shit drag you down. See you guys.